Shohei Ohtani pitches a second batting practice and it's kind of iffy. A Jalen Ramsey trade now makes more sense for the Dolphins. The Rams, on the other hand, and the great unknown for the Chargers this year is actually somebody they know pretty well. Good morning. I'm James. And this is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos morning report. And by the way, this is the type of day where you should be feeling that LA is one of the greatest sports cities in the world. It is June 1st, 2025. It's Sunday, the Lord's Day. And if you believe as I do, take a moment. Thank Him for the blessings in your life, like LA sports. And if you like being in the know about LA, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And by all means, comment. And we have a bit of an expanded look at the scoreboard today. Starting with Dodgers 18, Yankees 2. The Dodgers brought the whooping, and the Yankees brought that ass. The magic number drops to 103. The lead in the West is 3 games. Also, praise be, the Galaxy finally won an MLS match, 2-0 over Real Salt Lake. It only took them 17 times, but good things come to those who wait, I guess. By the way, not an MLS match, but kind of important. LAFC 2, Club America 1 in extra time. Dennis Bouanga's goal in the 115th minute leads the black and gold to what could be argued is the most important moment in that franchise's history, because that win qualifies them for the FIFA Club World Cup, which opens later this month. It's an additional $10 million for the franchise, but let's be real, if you're a fan, you're not going to see the money. They're not going to lower the ticket prices. No, the reason this is important is because of how LAFC advances a little bit more on the world stage. The first match in pool play, for example, Chelsea of the Premier League. Oh, that's not a big deal. Now, I will say this, and I'm not trying to rain on LAFC's parade. I just don't like their odds. Here's why. There is a special 10-day transfer window that opened today for clubs who qualified for this World Cup tournament. Other clubs can add whoever they can afford to pay. Checkbook wide open. LAFC, on the other hand, still has to abide by MLS's super strict salary cap. The MLS salary cap, to give you an example, is so crazy that if your team wins in the MLS Cup playoffs and the players get a bonus from the league, it counts against the cap. It wasn't negotiated in any contract. The MLS actually punishes its own clubs for success. Nobody gets rewarded. Just ask the Galaxy roster. And now, moments away from entering a worldwide tournament, LAFC has to go in with the cupboard bare. And by the way, you don't think Chelsea is going to open up the checkbook to take advantage? This tournament is worth $1 billion. And LAFC can't invest. Meanwhile, today, by the way, Yankees at the Dodgers at 4 o'clock, Phoenix at the Sparks at 5. And with that out of the way, what do you say we get to the news? Before the Dodgers put on those goofy City Connect jerseys to whip that Yankee booty all over the ravine, Shohei Ohtani threw another batting practice sesh in his spiritual journey back from a second Tommy John surgery. 2 simulated innings, 29 pitches. Now, this time he did not face major league hitters. They imported some folks over from Rancho Cucamonga. There's still no timeline for when Ohtani will return, because the Dodgers would like to see him build up to be able to go 5 or 6 innings. The belief, therefore, is still after the All-Star break. But let's be real. Can we take that at anybody's word? Dave Roberts speculated that Ohtani would have already been pitching by now before the season started. He said so. He's pitching in May. Totally didn't happen. And by the way, people who saw the sesh said Ohtani struggled to stay in the strike zone, particularly with the curve. So he's still a ways away, guys. And speaking of a ways away, Tyler Glasnow was moved to the 60-day injured list to make room on the 40-man roster for catcher Chucky Robinson, who was cut by the Angels. This move ultimately means Glasnow will not return until late this month at the earliest. Dodger Stadium is old. Lovely, but old. You know, they keep splashing new paint, they keep adding things, and if we're being honest with ourselves, they keep rooting out some of the weed dealers, but I digress. See, when I was a kid, the first time I went there were chain link fences behind the pavilions instead of those fun zones for families and bars for people trying to hook up with chicks. But a fan 2 nights ago claimed that a piece of the upper deck overhang fell and conked him on the noggin. Like a Warner Brothers cartoon, the fan looked up, held up a sign that said "Yipe" and got dotted right on the crown. Now, nobody is claiming the fan made this up, by the way. Other fans around him validated, probably after laughing hysterically at the guy because he was a Yankee fan and probably had it coming. Now, the Dodgers installed netting around that piece of concrete. They say they're going to inspect that and the stadium to make sure that that doesn't happen again. I've seen a photo of the netting. Yeah, that 2-foot long piece of concrete slab, honestly, yeah, I'm not surprised it fell apart. It looked like a toe that has diabetes. Just everything flaking off, disgusting. By the way, the fan did not leave. They asked him if he needed medical attention, needed to go to the hospital. He's like, nah, I'm good. Because after all, what's more expensive? Hospital bills, Dodger ticket. What's more pricey? This is a more cost-effective time in the NFL calendar once it turns to June. You can make trades, get less of a hit on the salary cap. So if you're the Miami Dolphins, Jalen Ramsey's kind of priced to move. If the Dolphins can make a trade now as opposed to just cutting the dude, they'd save $10 million of damage against the salary cap. Now, ESPN claims Ramsey has a reunion with the team that gave him a Super Bowl ring on his radar. In other words, back to the Rams. However, the same report also claims that there's not been a lot of movement on a deal recently. And there's a reason why. The Rams, as we all recall, they let Ramsey go because of cap issues. The dude is owed $24 million next year. Guaranteed. $24 million. Meanwhile, overthecap.com says the Rams have about $19.5 million. So, you do the math. Sean McVay kept saying that such a trade would have layers involved, and that's about 4.5 million layers. Pro Football Focus, or PIF, thinks that the so-called X Factor, the great unknown for the Chargers, is going to be wide receiver Mike Williams. Thus saith the legion of analytics incels, quote, Williams is back with the Chargers after an uninspiring season with the Jets and Steelers, during which he earned a 59.6 PIF receiving grade. This was the first time he garnered a sub-70 PIF receiving grade since his rookie year in 2017. Now that he's back in Los Angeles, he'll look to revive his career and be a reliable number 2 option behind Lad McConkey, unquote. Now, some of the guys who covered the Chargers thought that this was just crazy. Why would you name him the X Factor? I don't think it's a bad choice at all. Because look, everybody gets hyped in the draft, but you really don't know what you have yet in draft pick Trey Harris. Hell, think of other players that were taken in the draft. Quentin Johnston isn't showing any signs of life, is he? On the other hand, you look at Williams, he has rapport with Justin Herbert. I'm of the opinion that anything the Chargers can get that will make an opposing defender take his eye off of Ladd McConkey just for a nanosecond should be helpful. I hate to say I told you so, because in this case, you guys would have been like, dude, we could have told you first. Joey Bosa is already injured in Buffalo. The former Bolts defensive end, he's hobbling around. It's his calf. Now, the Bills are not ringing any alarms, but keep in mind, of the myriad injuries Bosa has had, 3 long-term injuries came to his lower right extremity alone. Hamstring, toe, and groin. Don't forget his groin. Who among us could forget Joey Bosa's groin? But seriously, folks, he's got a calf problem now. Earl Boykins, who you might remember played for the Clippers as part of a 13-year NBA career, he signed on with USC as an assistant basketball coach. Kudos. We all want a job in this economy. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Talk to me, for example, about Shohei Ohtani and if you're disappointed that he hasn't actually appeared in a game yet. And for that matter, can you find a way to reunite the Rams and Jalen Ramsey? And if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day here. Thanks for watching. I'm James, and we'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kiana Cortell Queso production. Take care.